So welcome everyone. This is a session, What's on Your Plate, part of the Workplace Wellbeing series of events this week that we're putting on. So nutrition, obviously, we can all think about it as being slightly overlooked sometimes when we talk about well-being, but it really can have a lasting effect, positive impact on our health. So I think now more than ever, we need to look after our gut health, and this often starts with what's on our plate. So to learn a little bit more about how we can improve our food choices and pick up some really great eating tips, we're delighted to welcome Jill Dempsey, who's been working in the field of nutrition, health and wellness for many years. Jill is passionate about working with clients who have lost their way with their diets due to the demands of their busy work lives. That's, I think, all of us. And Jill also works with those that are, dealing with digestive issues such as pre and type 2 diabetes, as well as helping clients with weight management and increasing their energy levels. So we're going to have a bit of Q&A at the end. Obviously, I think lots of people will have plenty of questions, so we'll do that at the end. If you can stick those into the Q&A box, and I'll keep an eye on those. But for now, we're going to hand over to Jill, and I'm going to help Jill with a quick quiz to get everybody thinking about their nutrition and all the rest of it. So over to you, Jill. You're very welcome.
Thank you very much, Dee, and thank you very much for inviting me here along today, and to everybody who is joining. It's fantastic to have so many of you here. So yes, I just love everything about nutrition, and I'm excited to be here today to discuss more about what's on your plate. So to kick everything off, I thought it would be really nice to have a little quiz to start with, and kind of just while people are joining, it's really nice to kind of settle in and think about some of these things. So without further ado, I shall start with the very first question. So what you could actually do is, when I have posed the question and you're thinking about it, you'll be given a selection of A, B, C, or D. And if you could pop your answer just by letter into the chat box, that would be fantastic. Dee is here as well, and she's going to keep an eye on what you think. Don't worry about it. Just the first thing that comes into your head. It's a little bit of fun to, to get going. Okay, so are we ready? This is question 1. Which of these foods raises your blood sugar fastest? Is it peanuts, ice cream, rice cakes, or beef? So put your answer in the chat box, and I'll give you a second or two. Peanuts, ice cream, rice cakes, or beef. Which of these foods raises your blood sugar fastest?
Lots of A's coming through, Jill.
Oh, sorry, I'm after jumping in there.
No, you're fine.
I could have given you a little bit longer there. Dee, I could test your knowledge now on all of these. So the answer actually is rice cakes. And reason for this is, if we take 50 grams of each of these foods mentioned, you'll see that rice cakes breaks down to 42 grams of sugar. Ice cream breaks down to 12 grams of sugar. There'd be more of a protein content in that. And peanuts break down to 8 grams of sugar. And of course, there is no sugar at all in beef. So that's the idea. So just to get your minds in gear, we'll move on to the next question. Okay. Which of these fruits has the lowest sugar content? Is it strawberries, apricot, kiwi, or grapefruit? So have a little think about that. And which would you think has the lowest sugar content? Okay, shall we move to the answer?
Let's go for it, yeah, definitely.
So, A, strawberries.
Big surprise.
Yes, if you look at 100 grams of each of these foods, so you have strawberries break down to 5 grams of sugar. So this is really good for you because it's a very low amount. Grapefruit, 7 grams of sugar, kiwi 9 grams, and apricot 11 grams of sugar. So quite surprising, all very healthy, but need to be aware of that fact. Question 3 coming up. Which of these cereals has the most sugar? Okay, A, fruit and fiber, B, cornflakes, C, porridge, D, Special K. So I'll give you a second or two to think about that. So have you got your answer in your own head there, Dee?
I do. I've got lots of A's coming through.
Oh, really? Okay.
And a D as well, yeah.
Okay. Any C's or D's?
few more D's coming through there.
Okay, and the answer is fruit and fiber. So well done to all of those who chose A. So again, looking at 100 grams, that's always the best amount to look at. Fruit and fiber, 24 grams of sugar. Special K, 15 grams of sugar. Cornflakes, 10, and porridge, 0.9 sugar. So you can actually see how healthy porridge and oats are for you. What percentage of the brain is made of fat? Now, you may need to phone a friend for this or ask the audience. It's up to yourselves. Is it 10%? Is it 30%? Is it 60% or 100%? What percentage of the brain is made of fat? Okay. Have we some answers coming in there, Dee?
Yeah, it's a few coming through. C's and B's, lots of B's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Okay.
B.
Right. Okay. Rounding up the last couple. The answer is 60% of the brain is made from fat. And this is going to be very relevant as we go through the talk. 5. How many liters of water should you drink each day? Is it 1, 2, 5, or 10 liters a day? The answer could vary, but there would be a recommended amount. I mean, a recommended amount, and it is one of these.
We're getting bombarded here, Jill. There's lots of B's coming through.
Great,
lots of B's.
Fantastic. I love this. I love this. So I'll hang on until it slows up a little bit, the flow.
Yeah, there we go. That's
okay.
Slow down there, but still more B's coming through slowly, yeah.
Okay. And Dee, what do you think yourself?
I would have to say it would have been between A and B, but I think I'd probably go for B.
Okay. You would be right. Now, question 6. This is very interesting to most people. Which of the following alcoholic drinks has the most sugar? A, 1 pint of cider. B, 1 pint of beer. C, gin and tonic. D, 1 glass of wine. So have a little think about that now. And
lots of A's coming through. There's a B coming through there. Okay. A, B. So a mixture between the top two. A or C.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. No D's.
No D's.
No D's. Okay, let's go for the answer. Actually, a pint of cider. So a pint of cider would have 20 grams of sugar. A gin and tonic has 14 grams of sugar. And this is actually probably quite surprising to a lot of people. And in fact, the gin itself hasn't any sugar. It's in the tonic. So a regular tonic water small can would have almost 4 teaspoons of sugar in it. A pint of beer has 8 grams of sugar in it, and a small glass of wine, 2.5 grams of sugar. So let me just point out that small glass of wine would be like the sort of more old-fashioned 125 mils-ish, not the larger sort of goldfish bowl glasses of wine, where you could pour in a half a bottle. So that would be, so keep that in mind for 125 mils, 2.5 grams of sugar. So that's actually quite shocking in its own way, isn't it?
Definitely. I have to reconsider my alcoholic choices from now on, Jill, definitely.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. That's usually a great one in a live audience. You really hear the buzz go round. So I'm sure you have plenty of, a lot of response there as well.
Yeah, brilliant.
All of those questions.
So Jill, I'm going to switch my camera off now because I think that's the end of the quiz. And then just to say to people, if you've got any questions as we go, to stick them in the Q&A box, or I mean, if they land in the chat box, that's fine too. So I'll keep an eye on those. Absolutely. Thanks so much, Jill. And over to you. Thanks.
And we will chat afterwards. Okay, that's great. Thanks very much, Dee. Okay, so I believe that Dee circulated a form around to everybody. How did you rate your health form? So this actually is a great form to complete if you're not quite sure where you're at in terms of your health. This would be great. And if you haven't done it, don't worry about it. And if you didn't receive it or it went into your junk mail, Dee will send it on to you again. So this is a lovely little starting point for you to find out how you would rate your health and energy right now. And so complete this questionnaire. If you have it there while I'm chatting away through the slides here, the presentation, you could fill in the boxes. So basically what you do is you take this form and you will see things like tired most of the time, overweight, prone to hormonal symptoms, suffering from dark circles under your eyes, etc., etc. So if it's a big problem, circle 5. If it doesn't affect you at all, circle 1. And do this throughout the top half of the form for the health, your overall health score, and the bottom half, the energy and blood sugar control score, which is very interesting too. And if you've already completed it, feel free to just pop your number into the chat box again, and Dee will also keep an eye on the types of numbers coming in. It's not to single anybody out, it's just then I can give you the score that it kind of should read at. So Dee, remind me about that afterwards, will you, to tell you what the score should be. But I won't ruin the surprise on anyone yet while you tot up your scores, but it's very reflective of your health. So, okay, now you can sit back and relax, okay? What I'd love you to do is just close your eyes and just sit back and relax. And this is just a little introduction to the type of work that I do with clients. So all eyes closed. Imagine this. You've just woken up. You feel full of energy. Your mind is clear. You get up, have a healthy breakfast, and throughout the day, your energy is good. Your mood is stable. You're mentally sharp, and your concentration is good. You haven't had any energy dips, become irritable, or experienced a single craving. You feel on top of your life. But that's just the inside story. You look good. Your weight is more or less where you want it to be. You're well toned and your skin has a healthy glow. People often comment on how well you're looking. You feel young, both physically and mentally. And this is how you feel every day. Welcome to the new you. This is not only how you could be, this is how you should be feeling every day. Within 30 days, as early as that, you can really start to feel like this. This is what I do, and I would like to introduce you to this concept. Okay, now you can open your eyes. So to start off, we've got 2 lovely images here. So how we fuel up will change the outcome of our health. So you can all aspire to this top picture. You can be sleek on the outside and you can be sleek on the inside. Or if you look to the lower picture, putting in the wrong fuel into your body means that we can age badly and not so sleek. So it's the same if you have a plant, beautiful plant, looks gorgeous in the pot, but if you actually don't hydrate it and feed it properly with the right nutrients, well, what's going to happen? The flower is going to wither and die. So we don't need to be that dramatic about it, but it is very important to actually fuel up with the right food. And there are so many foods that we can choose from. I'm all about how much you can eat rather than not eat. But sometimes we can get stuck and we can get lost. And there's a lot of confusing information out there. And you're kind of going, well, what can you have? Somebody says this, you can have it. Someone else says, no, you shouldn't have that. So we can have plenty of delicious food. And that is what's important. It's all about being healthy. Okay, so how do we define healthy? It's about maintaining the right weight for you, aging well, feeling young, living long, living better, and having abundant energy to live a quality life without limits, particularly as we age. So in other words, most of us would like to lose weight, look great, and feel amazing. So as you can see here in this diagram, you know, medical science is adding years to our lives, and life expectancy for men is 78.7 years and women 83.2 years. And I know as accountants, many of you will be working this out exactly to the day, the minute and the second. However, what is the quality of this extended life? How healthy is that life expectancy? For men, it's often 62.4 years, and for women, it's 63.9 years. So, you know, since people in the 21st century are living longer, the challenge would be to make these added years as healthy and productive as possible. So The thing is, though, by the time we get to our 60s, 5 out of 6 of us have one or more of the following illnesses or diseases, which, is very sad. Heart disease, diabetes, cancer, arthritis, dementia, osteoporosis. It's a fact of life. But how can we take control of our own health? And what is the perfect diet? And what are we programmed to eat? So you can actually see from this diagram here, that our genes have been evolving for 7 million years and more. But if you look back to hunter-gatherer times when food was scarce, we did have to struggle physically to get hold of it. And, people were fishing and hunting and foraging and very active in the pursuit of food. And these days, it's different. You can get in your car, you can order online in front of the TV, everything is at our beck and call. So we don't physically have to get as involved. And sadly, this is taking an effect on our overall health. So if we look at how our diet has changed over the years, you can see now that, like today, 13% of our diet is protein based, as opposed to 34% back in the Stone Age. We tend to have a lot more fat in our diet, 35% as opposed to 21%. But there'd be a lot of a difference in that percentage, as in the 35% would also include a lot of trans fats, which are very unhealthy for us, and processed fats and foods. So that wouldn't have been, that's probably a very good quality 21% back in the Stone Age. Carbohydrates have increased slightly, 52%. Fiber is a bit of a shocker, where it would have been excellent back in the Stone Age, 46 grams. We're down to about 21 grams. We're so much more subjected to processed foods and fast foods and easy foods and ready-made foods. And this often gets overlooked. And fiber is a super component of our diet. It helps cleanse toxins out of the body. So, this then contributes to how healthy we are. So a lot of the time we're eating to either promote disease or illness in the body, or we're promoting health in the body. So we all have to take responsibility for our own health. It's not anybody else's responsibility to do that. It's down to you. You look after your own body. You put on your own oxygen mask first. And that really is what it comes down to. You actually taking control of your own health. All of us. Even me. So sugar in the diet back in the Stone Age, right, was 0%. We'd have had a small amount of sugar from berries, obviously, but that's a negligible amount of sugar, to be honest. And today it's at 14% and rising. Salt back then was 1.7 grams, and that was fine. Today we're having up to and beyond 10 grams of salt a day. So that is really not so good. Okay, so what is the best diet now? Well, in general, balance is key of the macronutrients, particularly carbohydrates, fats, and protein. Good quality everything. As I said, I'm not about leaving anything out of the diet. It's different if you have an intolerance. Sometimes people do have to identify what that intolerance is. And I do that by testing myself. But if that's the case, you may rest that particular food out of your diet for a number of weeks. But again, we would still be looking to reintroduce that food and bring it back into your diet. It's all about what we can get into the diet, not remove from the diet. So balance is key. So the solution is an eating system that balances blood sugars, okay? So we call this the low glycemic load. This is very, very important. Why do we want to really try and take control of our blood sugars? Well, sugar is the problem in leading to low energy, reduced immunity, chronic disease, inflammation, premature aging, and weight gain. So sugar is fine, but it needs to be in balance. And this is why the GL is so important. So what is it and why is it so good? So a GL measures the quantity and quality of carbohydrate in food. It shows the effect each type of food has on our blood sugar and our bloods within our bloodstream. So stable blood sugar is key to health and to weight loss. That's, great if you're at the perfect weight, but a lot of us aren't. And we might, it's all about having a healthy BMI and reaching the numbers that we should. So foods with a high GL encourage the body to store fat, and foods with a low GL value encourage fat burning. So I think we'd all be agreed that that's probably where we want to be. So anyway, the link between carbohydrates and sugar. Okay, so carbohydrate containing foods would include bread, rice, pasta, vegetables, fruit, cakes, sugar, all these kind of things. They're digested, okay, and then they're turned into glucose, and then they're absorbed into the bloodstream. So let's take a look at the blood sugar balancing roller coaster here. Now, I know this is probably sort of screaming at you here. There's two diagrams here, the top one and the bottom one, okay? So the top diagram shows unhealthy blood sugar levels, which would lead to poor health. The bottom diagram shows healthy blood sugar levels leading to optimal health. So just to describe this diagram, the green bar is where we want to be, okay? Normal blood sugar levels. So what happens is, if you have what I would call an unbalanced breakfast, okay, this would be something like, and it would sound healthy enough, cold cereal, skim milk, orange juice, coffee, or just coffee. What happens here is your blood sugars can get spiked and miss that normal blood sugar level zone that's going across the middle there between the parallel lines. And when this happens, the hormone insulin has to come out to deal with the excess sugar, and it uses up sugar for energy, but the excess gets stored as fat and packed away, laid down as fat, usually around the middle. If anybody experiences any excess weight around the middle, this would be why there's probably too much sugar coming in, and the excess is being stored away in the cells. This can lead to mood swings and brain fog. So anyway, when the sugar is packed away in the cells, often a little bit too much might get packed away, and that's when, after a little while of eating all the sugary foods, you experience this low. So then the blood sugars drop again to below that green zone there. And when this happens, more hormones are introduced into the bloodstream. So we have cortisol then, which tries to deal with this. And this increases cravings, fatigue, and brain fog. So where you might experience this might be like a 4 o'clock slump in the afternoon, or a mid-morning slump where you feel, oh God, I'm actually itching for something like maybe a croissant or a chocolate or a pick-me-up. I'm not quite there. I'm a bit, the brain is a bit all over the place, brain fog. And so we reach into the desk to take out whatever snack maybe you brought along. And yeah, that gives you a boost. And then you spike the blood sugars again. Insulin has to come out to play again and deal with all this excess sugar. So as you can see, this carries on. There's a roller coaster effect going on here, and all the time you're missing that normal blood sugar level zone that we want to be in. So so in terms of type 2 diabetes, which is an area that I work in, what happens is, if there's too much insulin, too much sugar coming into the diet, insulin has to keep coming out to play. Eventually, insulin goes, oh, listen, I've had enough of this sugar malarkey. I'm not coming out again. That's it. And then we may become insulin resistant. And then we have too much sugar is sloshing around in the bloodstream, and that's when problems can develop, and people may go on to be pre-diabetic or develop type 2 diabetes. But the good news is that this can be controlled. This can be addressed, and it's often through diet and lifestyle that we can almost reverse type 2 diabetes. I'd never make a full claim on it, but in general, there's an awful lot we can do to keep ourselves away from that. Obviously, type 1 diabetes is a totally different, it's an autoimmune condition, so it's totally different. I'm purely talking about how we contribute to going on this path. So looking at the bottom diagram there, this is a healthy blood sugar level. Reaching optimum health would be the aim. But so you'd start the day, you would be eating foods and food groups that would keep your blood sugars balanced within that green zone. So if you look, for example, what we would call a balanced breakfast could be something like an omelette, 2 eggs, spinach, a little bit of cheese, berries, herbal or green tea to start the day. Now, it's not to say you can't have your cup of tea. Of course you can. You can have everything. Everything is within moderation. But what this does is, it keeps you within these lines, and cortisol remains, the hormone cortisol remains under control. Cravings decrease, you think clearly, and fat storage decreases, you have more steady moods, and you have steady energy throughout the day. So there is a system that I'll be addressing throughout this presentation, which will introduce you to how to do this. So this is the basis of what we're at here. We're trying to achieve this lower diagram here. Okay, so let's look at the macronutrients. Carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. So proteins are found mainly like in fish, lean meat, eggs, nuts, seeds, beans, and pulses. They do not contribute to the glycemic load. So that is good to know. That opens up a lot of food we can eat. Yes, we do still need to think about, portion size and, how regularly we're eating as well. And it's not that we ignore calories. We're not going to pile the plate high either. Everything is within moderation and keeping control. Fats do not contribute to glycemic load either. We have mono and polyunsaturated fats, which would be nuts, seeds, oily fish, avocado, olives. These are really, really healthy and really healthy fats that we do need to have in our diet, as we'll hear as we go along. Saturated fats would be, for example, meat and full dairy products. Also coconut oil, which is very healthy for us too. So the carbohydrates, the bread, the rice, the pasta, potatoes, vegetables, high GL fruit, cake, sweets, chocolates. These are the foods with GL scores. So these are the ones that actually we need to keep an eye on. Here's another diagram, just giving you a little idea here of the starchy carbohydrates: bread, potatoes, rice, pulses, and as you can see across that diagram there. Okay, so what we really want to be able to do is to have as many foods as we can, working from the left here. This is a scale from left to right of low GL foods to high GL foods. So non-starchy veg is fantastic. Green veg, mushrooms, tomatoes, onions, all of that, super. We can have as many of those in our diets, and they're really, really good for us, and very, very cleansing of toxins in the body, which I'm passionate about. I actually even have my own system of growing, which I can talk about later at home. So if you then look at whole grain foods such as whole grain rice, wholemeal bread, oats, again, complex carbohydrates, they are good to eat, they're very filling, and they're slow release of sugar into the bloodstream throughout the day, and that's what keeps our energy stores in balance. Okay, so moving along, you can then see where these orange boxes, the fruit and the starchy foods, are coming into play. So with fruit, the glycemic load does vary according to sweetness and fiber content. So even within fruit, we have to watch. We talk about 5 a day or 7 a day or 10 a day, but actually we would be talking about 2 a day in fruit, 7 or 8 in veg, because fruit has the fructose, but some fruits vary. Like berries are excellent, and their GL score is very low, whereas somebody having a banana, a large banana, or 2 or 3 of them, it's not to say they're not healthy. They are healthy, but they spike your blood sugars. So, there's a lot to learn here. Starchy foods such as potatoes and some root vegetables like parsnips and carrots, white pasta and bread. We're getting into trickier territory here where the glycemic load, the sugar load, is actually on the increase. And then the worst area to be is the high GL. So this is where sugary or processed foods. So these are the most harmful in our diet: cakes, sweets, biscuits, crisps, and often ready meals, because they have a lot of preservatives and salt and things like that in them as well. So we do tend to live life in the fast lane, most of us, I think. We're all very busy, demands, stress, pressure, everything. And whatever is quick and handy is where we all tend to go at times, but this is actually what is contributing to inflammation in the body, whether we like it or not. I know it's lovely to think about preparing meals from scratch and we don't have time and everything, but overall, it's about putting on that oxygen mask. And depending on your age, I know when you're in your teens and your 20s and your 30s, you think, oh, look, this is never going to bother me. But as we go up the scales, 40s, 50s, 60s, you really want to think where you want to be in your retirement when you're working so hard now. You want to be enjoying life. I know I certainly do want to. I want to still be doing my hot yoga at 105. I want to be one of these people who has a great time and quality of life. But it's possible, and it starts here. Okay, so let's move on a little bit and be sugar smart then. Okay, so a few pointers here. So to put into context, 1 teaspoon of sugar is 4 grams. So if you're looking at labels, it's quite easy to jump to sugar on the back and divide by 4. And then you can work out how many teaspoons, because I think that's often quite shocking when you think of teaspoons, you're going, yeah, God, that's not great, is it? And, everything can be had as a treat. I'm not here to rule out anything, but a treat. Remember, we've become quite privileged in our society where, well, we can kind of have anything we want a lot of the time. And we can be good to ourselves. We've had a hard day. We deserve it. We've earned it. But think about the health at the end of the day and the oxygen mask. So remember this. There's the World Health Organization recommends we should have no more than 10 to 14 teaspoons of sugar a day. So that's throughout everything, throughout all the meals, throughout the drinks. That's fine. We need a little steady supply of sugar, and the healthier, the better. Okay, so at the supermarket, just so you can see, so a jar of sweet and sour sauce that would serve 4 people, for example, would contain approximately 18 teaspoons of sugar. So that's just one. So, okay, we can see all the jars there. We can see everything. So again, I'm not here to slate anything, but I would just caution, when you're using foods like this, and I know people are in a hurry and you have to feed the kids and get moving and get on out to everything that has going on. We need to be able to make things quickly. So try and work a little bit from scratch. Put in, go to your fridge, take out your vegetables, take out what you've got, and add them into the dishes. And yes, if you have that favorite jar that you really just can't resist, or you like that taste, just take out some of it and add it in a little bit to get the taste. Or even better, just rule it out completely. I have an abundance of recipes if anybody wants any, and they're quick and easy, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Email me, there's absolutely no problem. But they're very simple meals to make, and sometimes we just get so lost. Where do you start? And so reach for the jar. So anyway, but just be aware of that. Okay, at the coffee shop. Okay, so we're just going to talk about any type of coffee really, and it's scone with maybe sultanas in it. And that would be a lovely 9 teaspoons of sugar just in that. It's over in 5 minutes or 7, or if you're lucky and you've got 10 minutes between meetings, you might even have a second one. And I'm just talking about a coffee and a scone and a few sultanas. I'm not talking about maybe the croissants or the even more interesting pastries that we actually could be having. Okay, so Another instance would be this. It's great we've all returned out of the pandemic to being able to do normal things again. So this could be at home, or it could be out at the cinema. So medium fizzy drink, for example, medium sweet popcorn, could be salty either, a share size packet of sweets. Okay, so how many trips do we do? Whether going to the zoo or wherever you're going, you may take this in as part of your day out or your evening out. We've no alcohol here at all. There's 46 teaspoons of sugar in that little lot there. So that's actually quite shocking, I think. But, again, let me say, a treat is a treat. If it is just a treat, look, come on, we've got to live, and, and that's really important. But this has become part of everyday practice. And I think that that's kind of where we're pushing the body towards inflammation. And we've become more sedentary in our jobs. I mean, you can all think as well, you know, how many of you actually are sitting at desks all day and maybe not moving around. And so that has to be, you know, factored in as well. How much are we on the move? We're not burning this off. So it's the same effect as fight or flight. So if you had a tiger, you know, in front of you, you get an awful fright. You know, you'd run and you'd burn off all of that adrenaline in your system. But when you've all the sugar in your body, we're not running anywhere. You're still sitting at the desk. So it's piling on or often around the middle. So here we have an example of drinks, sugars and calories from drinks. As I said, I don't really talk about calories, but it is a good example. And this is before food. So it's actually quite simple how this can happen. You could start off the day with an innocent orange juice at breakfast. You might have a coffee mid-morning. You might have a soft drink around lunch. In the afternoon, you could have maybe a fruity drink, a pick-me-up or a herbal tea. And in the evening, well, you just might have that pint or beer or glass of wine. It's been a really tough day. But straight off, you're at 1,370 calories, for example, in or about approximately, and that doesn't include any food at all. So moving along to the next macronutrient, fats, because people think sometimes fat is a bad word. Why do we need fats? So we need fat for many, many reasons. As we said and saw earlier in our quiz, that our brain is 60% fat. So our body craves this. So often when we're going around hungry and looking for sugar to eat, it's not always, we keep eating sugar, but we're going, oh, I still feel like I still want something. What is that? What is that itch I can't scratch? It's the brain. It's the brain needing fat. The brain has to be fed fat to be sharp every day. So we need essential fatty acids. Our body doesn't make them, so we need to put them into our body. And it's so, so important to do that. The fat is also used as an energy source. The way we use carbohydrates, you know, and sugar as an energy source, we also use fat as an energy source as well. Fat is also required to absorb certain vitamins, vitamin A, D, E, and K. They need fat to be absorbed. Every cell membrane in our body is made of fat, so that's really important. We need fat for that too. And fat stores in our body provide insulation and also help protect our organs. It also helps to keep us full, and that way we're not picking in between meals all the time. It's used for heart health and to fight inflammation also. So we hear an awful lot about low fat as well. And this does not necessarily mean it's low calorie or it is healthy. Now, I know in terms of cholesterol issues, it may come into play there, and we can talk about that afterwards. But regularly, going back to the 1990s in the States, they took out fat out of a lot of foods and everything became low fat, zero fat. This was the craze. But what happened in the 90s? Obesity levels went up and have increased. And this has happened throughout Europe as well. And this is carried on everywhere. And so what has happened was that in general, when fat is removed from food, it has to be replaced by something. So it's replaced often by sweeteners, by sugar, and by salt. And these things aren't healthy for us. So unfortunately, they are contributing to poor health in our body as well. So just bear that in mind. Yes, sometimes the price tag is higher as well. So low fat isn't always all that it's cracked up to be. Like it's far healthier if you have a plain yogurt and you add in fruit. If you buy a low fat yogurt with fruit in it, for example, you know, the sugars are multiplying and it's not so healthy. So it's just something to just bear in mind. Okay, so essential fats as well. This is really, really important, as I mentioned earlier, for reducing inflammation and for brain health. So foods such as oily fish, flax seeds, pumpkin seeds, and walnuts contain omega-3 essential fatty acids. And so a diet rich in omega-3 fats can actually help to lower the risk of diabetes and heart disease. So they're also anti-inflammatory, improve blood flow, and decrease blood pressure. So there are different types of dietary fats. So you might have heard some of these names. Saturated, which would be like hard fat found in dairy products, including butter, cream, cheese, fatty meats, coconut oil as well, coconut oil is actually very healthy for us. Then monounsaturated oil, which would be found in olives, olive oil, and avocado. Very much part of the Mediterranean diet, excellent as well. Polyunsaturated oil found in like plant-based oils, nuts and seeds, and fish. Essential fatty acids, your omegas 3, 6, and 9s. Now the 6 and 9s we tend to pick up a lot through general eating, but the omega-3s are the ones we're particularly interested in, and they're found in oily fish, nuts, and seeds. So these are good things to have. And yes, if you were ever on a weight loss diet, you would be looking at the amounts that you're eating of these. But the fact is, you need to eat them. We need them. We absolutely do. So how do we, approach this kind of balancing of blood sugars on a day-to-day basis? So there's 3 easy steps. So eat regularly, every 3 to 4 hours, 3 meals and 2 snacks. So if your blood sugars are in that roller coaster mode that we saw earlier, you need to start somewhere. So it's about balance. Within an hour of getting up, have your breakfast. Eat every 3 to 4 hours. Have a small snack. Even if you say, I'm not hungry, have it, because what it's actually doing, it's like topping up a baby with a bottle or whatever. You're actually giving balance within your bloodstream of the foods that are that you're consuming. So for example, a really good snack, and I'll come to them in a minute, would be something like an apple and 5 almond nuts. The almond nuts actually slow the speed of the sugar from the apple into the bloodstream, reducing the glycemic load even further. So you might be thinking, oh, what's with the apple and the nuts? But no, it's actually doing a little job. So just have it. So have your breakfast at home. I'll give you ideas in a moment, or at your desk before you start work, hopefully. And then have a little break after 3 hours, have a snack, have your lunch, have a mid-afternoon snack, have your dinner, have a little snack, don't eat again then maybe for the next 12 hours. And then you get into this pattern. It takes about 6 weeks if your blood sugars are very unbalanced. It takes about 6 weeks of practicing this to bring them into balance. Eat quality protein every time you eat. Well, also particularly every time you eat carbohydrates, because the protein will slow the speed of the sugar. And select slow releasing carbohydrates and low GL fruits. Now, this is an area I work in, so often by being on a course, you get to learn exactly what these foods are. There is a formula to work them all out, but it's a good way to find out is by familiarizing yourself with exactly which these low GL foods are. So the benefits of a low GL diet, as you can see here, there's a healthier insulin response. You avoid the sugar crash. You feel fuller for longer, feeds good bacteria, so in the gut, and maintains weight loss or weight management. The gut is so important, and really that's a talk for a different day. The microbiome, we have a lot of bad bacteria, or we can be exposed to a lot of bad bacteria. So it's really, really good. And this causes what we call as nutritional therapists, we call it dysbiosis, when the good and the bad bacteria are out of sync. But we have to remember that the gut is known as the second brain. So there's this gut-brain axis, which is so important. So if your gut is out of balance, and you may have less beneficial bacteria than commensal bacteria. It's really important that we balance that up. And so really healthy probiotic foods, something as simple as sauerkraut every day in your diet is really good. Or if you have a yogurt where you see there's live cultures, excellent. Make sure to have these every single day, because we need to keep putting back in the good bacteria. And it doesn't affect it, it's perfect. The less sugar you have in the diet as well protects that balance in the gut. And as I said, yes, it can maintain weight loss as well. Okay, so we're going to talk about the they're the benefits. We can reduce inflammation in the body with the low GL diet, improve sleep as well. We can't forget it's about a balance of everything: self-care, sleep, diet, and exercise. It is a combination of those 4 pillars really, which also promotes our health. But going back to the plate, this is a balanced plate, okay? So the way it works is you should choose lean protein of about a quarter of a plate. Now we're talking about a regular sized plate, not some supersized plate, just the regular dinner plate. This is how it could look. May not look that exciting, but it's just for the purpose of showing you a quarter of protein on a quarter of the plate there, and then a quarter of starch. Those starchy carbohydrates that we need to watch, that are the fast sugars, the simple sugars that are hitting the bloodstream really fast and are going to spike those blood sugars, which will bring out more insulin, and we don't want that. So that is the area of the plate that needs to be controlled. So quarter starch there, and then half of the plate should be vegetables or salad, and that's that's a great way to get your fiber in as well, and you will find you will be full. You know, it's really good to just balance your plate out this way, and you're covering everything, and a little bit of healthy fat. I would actually throw on a little bit of avocado there for your healthy fat. So this is just like lunch or dinner. Obviously breakfasts come in slightly different. So just to give you an example of a good day versus a bad day in terms of GLs here. You on the right, you can see the high GL foods are in red. So it sounds like quite a simple day here: a bowl of cornflakes, a banana, and milk. Now you think maybe not too bad. Okay, it says Mars bar there, but any type of bar. Lunch, tuna salad baguette, a bag of crisps in the afternoon, and pizza with maybe tomato sauce, parmesan, and a little bit of salad. Like overall you'd be thinking, and a lot of people go to count calories here and think, oh, you know, it's actually not too bad, but it is. It's 110 GLs of you know, of sugar that we really don't need. So just to reiterate, if I was to put a number on it, to maintain balance on a daily basis of your weight, and say you're at your ideal weight, and you're pretty healthy, we would aim to be eating around 60 GLs a day. And on the if we were to lose weight, maybe around 40 GLs, 35 to 40 GLs. So you can see how bad that 110 GLs is on the right. So a good day here would be 38 GLs for porridge, milk, handful of berries and seeds. A snack would be a punnet of strawberries, a handful of nuts and seeds, or maybe an apple there, a tuna salad wrap, wholemeal wrap. A snack could be hummus and oatcakes, smoked salmon, cottage cheese, crudités. You know, it's endless what you can do there. Dinner, a nice recipe with maybe chicken, cherry tomatoes, creme fraiche, roasted vegetables, new potatoes, lots of salad. 38 GLs. So simple changes. You're not hungry on the left there, but the low GL foods will keep you full, reduce stress levels, and increase energy. So here's some examples here of foods that you could eat, and you can see there's even a cooked breakfast in there. So that would be maybe poached eggs, boiled eggs, grilled bacon. It says bake, and I know it's highly processed, full of salt and all the rest, but we're going to still do things, and we're still going to want to eat and be healthy, but keep it to a treat, maybe at the weekend. Don't have to cook breakfast every day, I would say, and certainly not frying. Grilling is the emphasis there. Grilling, steaming, all these kind of different ways of eating are just super and maintain the nutrients in the food. So you could have tomatoes, mushrooms, you could have a slice of wholemeal bread there, or toast with that cooked breakfast. So the idea would be that you have 10 GLs for breakfast, lunch and dinner, and 5 GLs for the snacks, bringing you to about 40 GLs. If you're on a weight loss, you can have more GLs if you're not losing weight. And porridge, again, a lovely granola. There's a lovely brand, Lizzie's granola, and you can get that in most of the stores, and absolutely excellently made, and it's low GL as well. Weetabix really only have one small amount of shredded wheat. Yogurt, again, plain BioLive to get those probiotic foods in for the gut, and low GL fruit. You could add in xylitol, which is it's a healthy sort of sweetener. It's an alcohol sugar. It's neither alcohol nor sugar, but if you need, never give to your pets, near your pets, would make them very sick. But if you need that extra sweetness, that actually is good. Okay, adding cinnamon, if you like cinnamon, it's fabulous as well. It's very blood sugar balancing too. Again, your low GL fruit and some nuts and seeds, excellent. Again, these ideas for if you're on the run as well, your oat cakes and hummus or pesto or smoked salmon or cottage cheese. Hope I'm giving you good ideas there. I'm aware of the time here, so I'm just moving on a little bit. Again, you can see the visuals of this as well. Whole grain, again, always whole grain, out with all the white foods, and make sure it's nice, and the complex carbs. Good solid source of protein, tuna, salmon, chicken, avocado, low fat cheese. The reason that is there may be for people with cholesterol issues, but to be honest, small amount of cheese or cottage cheese is excellent as well in case you're trying to achieve weight loss. Eggs, again, super source of protein, and salads, as many as you can have. And you can see there the things to avoid: pizza, burgers, breadcrumbs, pastries. They're the high GL foods. So work snacks, again, sorry, come back to the work snacks. So there's many ideas that you can have for the snacks. I've mentioned a few of them as I've been going along there. Piece of fruit plus nuts and seeds, maybe 2 oat cakes with a little bit of nut butter. Almond nut butter is the best. No bake energy bowls. I have recipes for that if anybody would like those recipes. A small wholemeal pita and hummus, natural yogurt and berries, crudités, small carrot, pepper, cucumber, celery, and dip into hummus, pesto. I hope you're all starving now listening to this, but these are the ideas. Cottage cheese plus berries, and on it goes. So good food swaps here. So if you're trying to take out some carbs out of your spaghetti bolognese, again, you could use courgette or something. Instead, it's a spaghetti or a mix of both, just to take down the level of carbs. White bread is, it spikes your blood sugar. Go for the brown bread, and this is excellent every time. Crackers, again, replace with rough oat cakes. And Orange is a super product as well. And we've loads of Irish products that are just super for, the lists are endless. If I had more time, I'd love to go into them all. And super swaps here, but you can get them in little Aldi health food shops. Narn's rough oat cakes are great, but you can get the equivalents in all the shops. Antioxidants, again, we are subjected to free radicals every day, so we need to balance this out by eating antioxidant foods. Jumping ahead there, so that again would be your top 5 antioxidant veg would be broccoli, curly kale, spinach, beetroot, red peppers. Color, eat the rainbow is what I say. And then the top 5 antioxidant fruits would be berries, oranges, plums, apples, and cherries. You kind of get the idea there, but we really are, with our environment, subjected to so many toxins that we really need to reduce them. And then hydration. most important, as we had in the quiz back at the start, sip regularly throughout the day. Always have the bottle, you know, nearby, or the glass nearby. Make it tasty. Add in your berries, add in your orange, add in your lemon, cucumber, mint. Make it interesting, and sip, sip, sip. You need to get in that 2 liters a day. And if you're an elite athlete, cyclist, you know, whatever sport you're in, you need more. So it's so important, really, really important. So just to say, if any of you are interested in taking that first step, you're more than welcome to a copy of my Supercharge Your Health ebook, and you know, I can send that on to you. My email address is info@newvitality.ie. That is the name of my business, New Vitality, and I have a website as well, and also one for everyone in the audience. A complimentary 30-minute consultation call, or in-person consultation, or online. If you are feeling like, oh my God, I don't even know where to begin with all of this, you know, this is complimentary. If you want to have that chat and have a little bit of personal Q&A bespoke to just yourself, totally confidential, absolutely book it in with me, and in the next couple of weeks, and I'm more than delighted to help. So that ends my presentation for the moment. I'm Dee, you may be there.
I am. Wow, Jill. There was an awful lot to take away there, and I hope it's kind of, no pun intended, whetted the appetite for everybody joining today. But I think just before we just do maybe 1 or 2 questions, there have been quite a few coming in. You showed Chris and I this amazing vegetable tower. So if you can swing your camera back to where you were showing, it's just an extraordinary bit of kit.
Can you see that? Is that showing up?
Yeah, showing up. It's just amazing that this is a new contraption, for want of a better word. But you might just tell the audience what that is, because I do think it's fascinating, and it's amazing to have that at home.
Yes.
And access to all.
I'm passionate about, obviously we're all passionate about the planet and plastic and everything, and also the issue of how are we going to get our children interested in vegetables and eating food. And I buy an awful lot in the supermarkets, and they're bagged up in the plastic, and bring them home, and they're nearly gone off by the time that I open them. And in America there's this system, and it's been running for about 10 or 12 years, and very, very popular. But I've just recently gotten a franchise for Europe, and basically what it is, it's Aeroponics. So this is a tower. It can be anywhere. As you can see, it's in my office at the moment. It can be in your kitchen. It can be anywhere. And I have the lights on it so that I can use this 365 days of the year. But it has a water base in the bottom, and it's aeroponics. So it sprays up the water with nutrients up through the center of the tower, catching the roots at the back, and you have a constant supply of whatever you choose to grow. At the moment there, I have a lot of dill. I do like my dill, I have to say, and I have coriander, I have chives, I have tomatoes, anything you can think of like that, and your herbs you can grow. People grow cucumbers, rhubarb, the list is endless. But I think we do need to find a way that, you know, for our kids, this is great in a classroom, because you nurture seeds in a little tray in a window with vermiculite, and then you leave it there for about, you know, a couple of weeks, and then you literally just, and the kids can do this, they can transplant the little pods into the tower and watch it grow. I literally come into my office every day and say, wow, how's it coming on? And then you just harvest it, it regrows, you top it up with nutrients every week. And to me, it's a no-brainer, because from tower to table, you have fresh food, and it tastes delicious. It's the taste that gets you. And it really tastes lovely. God, you can tell how passionate I am about it. But what I love the most is that, you know, you don't have the herbicides, the pesticides, the one-use plastic bag, you know. So I think it's great, and I think it's exciting. I think it's very
brilliant. Exciting. Love it. Yeah, and I was dying to show everybody that, because I just think it's something really unique. Yeah. So look, we have kind of run out of time, but there was lots of questions, but I just want to pose one, which I think is actually a very interesting one. It's kind of a combination of two. Hang on here now. So it's basically on the fruits you were talking about, and dried fruits, and are dried apricots healthy? Somebody was asking.
Yeah, the dried fruits are really loaded with sugar. all of them are, unfortunately, that process means that the sugar is very high in them. So I would never say not to have them. I would just say don't have a bag of them. You know, that is really going to spike your blood sugars. Same with dates and things like, so if you're making a lovely protein balls, which is very, very easy to do, you know, you might put in 6 or 8 dates chopped up really small for a batch of about 30. So it's not to not have them, but it's to minimize them. Now you
Brilliant.
could have your little piece of dried apricot with your apple, and that would be fine. Yeah, that would be fine, but
Great.
definitely not the bag.
Perfect. Yeah, good advice. And then on sweeteners, so somebody else was saying, good or bad. She was mentioning that you mentioned xylitol, which is, you know, obviously a sweetener per se, but I think it's plant-based. But maybe regular sweeteners, I would, you know, what do you think about those, Jill?
No, the answer is no. The nearest one I could give you would be the xylitol, as it's an alcohol sugar, you know, it's from plums, as you rightly said there, but absolutely no sweeteners. They really wreak havoc with your gut. And so if you find that maybe you've got headaches or you've got a dysbiotic gut, IBS, different things like that, digestive issues happening, that absolutely is playing havoc with your gut. So I would be a no on that.
Brilliant. So look, there's lots of other questions. I just invite everyone to kind of, you maybe get in contact with Jill. We're going to send around some of the content, the ebook, and the details about the complimentary consultation call as well. So look, Jill, just wanted to say thank you so much. I certainly learned a load, and I'm sure everyone else learned loads as well. And we look forward to seeing you back in the Institute some other day. So thanks everybody for joining, and see you all soon.
Thank you for attending and listening and for inviting me. It's been fantastic.
You're so welcome. Thanks a million. Take care, everyone. Thanks,
Bye.
Jill. Bye.